Hello and welcome to another episode of Klosmi Commentary number 6. This is the lead up into the final week before the season starts. Today we talked about the kits for a little bit too long. We got into a ramble, but then we just talked about Poch, Lukaku getting into trouble, brawl in the Europa League, and smashed into Liverpool and Manchester City.
We did.
The big talking point this season. So sit back, relax, and
enjoy the show.
So the countdown is on. There's only a few days left before the Premier League season starts, and the first game between Liverpool and Norwich at Liverpool, I believe, 5 a.m. here and sometime in the evening UK time, because that's just how we roll in Australia. We're ahead of everything, and it's going to be an early start on Saturday, but I'm ready for it. Cos doesn't have to bother; he can sleep in.
Yeah, I can sleep in.
Yeah, he doesn't mind missing a Liverpool game or the first game of the Premier League season. But it's winding on.
I'll watch City at 9:30.
City at 9:30.
Yep.
Oh, it's the same day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't even have to wait that long. Is City the early game? So yeah. City's the second. Oh, that actually.
So how annoying for you! I'm watching City instead of Liverpool.
No, well, someone's got to do it. You know, I'll be asleep for the second one, and I'll get an early day the next day. But anyway.
Yeah.
Before we get on to Liverpool and City, which is going to be the main thing for this season, really, you would think, but the managers are being modest, too modest, I think, when they're saying, "Oh no, the other teams will be good too. The other teams will be." No, yeah, it's probably going to be a bit of a gap between City.
Well, they can't come out and say, "Oh, the other teams are crap. We're just going to smash them all."
They should. But they won't, of course.
Well, they never will, but it'll just...
No. I always...
well, they should, but then if it doesn't happen, then it's actually funny.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll cop it from everybody, and then some people will be amused.
Yeah, nobody needs that. As a manager, nobody needs that. It does always make me laugh, though, when I see Klopp in an interview trying to not say that a team is garbage. And he said, "Oh yeah, they're good too, and they're going to be really difficult." And, and you can just see he's trying to. Well, when Klopp's lying.
It depends what sort of team you're talking about. Because like some of those teams are good, but we're talking about two really good teams here.
No, I'm talking about
if
I'm talking about like Huddersfield.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a gap.
but it's a different level, I suppose.
It is.
You can say, "Oh, they're good for like." A Premier League team, or they're good for, in different ways.
True. You can sort of hide the truth, can't you?
You can say, based on their budget or whatever, they're good.
Yeah,
you can sort of.
If they played in Spain, they'd be good.
Yeah. Top 4 finish.
Top 4 finish. No, top 4 is a little bit harder.
That's a stretch.
But Europa League, they'll be
Europa League with a healthy goal difference.
Oh, okay. Before we get into that, we've got... Okay, well, I don't know if you saw the kits for the...
I saw the home kits.
The home kits.
I did not catch the away kits.
Oh, yeah, the away kits are...
I did see the home kits.
Well, the away kits are... They're worse. Actually, did you catch the Watford kit? The Watford home kit?
I did. They got rid of the stripes.
Yeah, they did a Juve. Although, I have to say, it does look better than the Juve top. But
it's yellow and black.
Yeah. It's
yellow
and black.
I kind of like it.
That's actually the footy team, yeah. The away kits are mostly just...
I should buy a Watford top.
Random. Watford top. Whoever did these lists must be either an Arsenal fan or Arsenal PR, because Arsenal ranked first in both kits, and they're not really remarkable.
Maybe they're just good.
They're not. I mean, you saw the Arsenal first kit. It's just classic.
It's a classic. That's why it's number one.
It's a simple kit.
I agree with it.
Yeah, but there were other kits that were simple, and they had a cry about it. Chelsea's kit is horrendous. It's some sort of like it's been splattered with the blue. It's got that pattern.
Yeah,
and it looks like a crinkled shirt.
Why do you think Sarri left? He knew what was coming. He saw the plans and that.
No, look the Arsenal. That's
it's yellow.
number one.
Yellow and black.
Does that really deserve number one?
Yes. It's yellow and black.
It's not black.
It is. It's a shade of black.
No, not the back one. This one.
That's what I'm looking at.
The front one.
Look at that.
That is gold. That's gold. That's not black at all.
You kidding?
This part. Are you talking about the?
It's a shaded black.
There's a navy collar.
I like it.
And look, it's not bad, but like,
who's the guy in the?
It's Ian Wright.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's because it's a throwback to a kit that one of their away kits from when he played. He's Arsenal legend from the. I'm not sure which era he was in, but I'm pretty sure it was early '90s. I could be wrong. Please don't crucify me. The West Ham kit is. But yeah, I don't mind that. I like both Crystal Palace's kits.
Crystal Palace? That's nice.
Yeah, I like it.
That's it.
It's got like this sort of tigery, stripy feel down the middle. You really have to see the kits.
That is a nice kit.
Well, it's an away kit.
It is an away kit, but that is a nice away kit. I like that one.
You know what? Actually, when it comes to the Tottenham kits,
that's nice.
That's all right. That's not
nice,
bad.
Tottenham.
We're going from the best to the worst. So we have to start with the worst. The worst. I think that's a stretch. It's not. I reckon their home kit's worse.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
Because you know how their home kit, it's got the normal red stripes,
like
but it's got this black.
That's like a lime green shorts and a black top.
It looks like a training kit.
It's terrible. And then there's that's
straight from FIFA
that
training
is terrible.
Kit. But
Newcastle.
See, I don't think that's
not too bad.
It's not that bad.
But yeah.
But
I don't know.
It's just this dark green kit, and the poses of the players is terrible. But the kit itself isn't that bad. Sheffield's just got a basically white top with sort of these.
That's a weird sponsor.
Yeah, the sponsor's huge, and that's why they have a cry about it. I like that. That's kind of because it's.
But that's not Norwich aren't really meant to be orange, are they?
No, well,
I thought they'd be yellow.
That's the point of the away kit. This is the second kit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is it's a contrast to that because usually they have yellow and green, which that is a pretty bad kit. The home kit, the shirt sort of has this fading gradient that goes to the shorts. So it looks like the shorts start up high. That's just there's nothing special about that.
Like Aston Villa looks like Man City.
Yeah.
That's just
Man City look like Napoli.
That's funny.
But Bournemouth is just it's a simple kit. It's just like this dark navy.
Well, the kids, yeah.
Liverpool's kit is just white. It's just there's nothing to say good or bad against that. Watford kit is I don't know. It's just a nice sort of navy blue colour. Burnley also looking like Man City with massive sponsors.
They want to look like City, don't they?
Brighton just got a black top, which is funny because they love this, but they hate some other black kit.
Well, I don't understand their rankings. Well, the Wolves one looks.
I like that.
That's not bad.
It's got this.
I like the
it's
Wolves
black
kit.
and it's got a bit of that Wolves orange in
I like
the background.
Leicester.
See,
I don't like
this one. I don't like this.
I don't like it.
Leicester City wear blue, and then their away kit is black. It's like if they're playing against Chelsea, they can't use that kit, or anyone who wears blue. That's not going to work, Even someone wearing blue and white, like Brighton or something like that, that's not going to work. They're going to need their third kit. So, what is the point of us having a second kit if it's so similar to your normal kit? I don't like it. It's no good. But it is a bit strange though because they're black and then Brighton's black, and for some reason it just looks.
No, but that one doesn't look nice.
Yeah,
it's not a nice black.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's might be
it
the
was
material.
dark grey or something.
Yeah.
It might not even be black, but that doesn't look nice.
Yeah, it's hard to say. And Man City's kit's black, and that's weird for me. It's got the light,
they're all going black,
light blue on one side
but pink on the other.
But that makes sense because they got a light blue kit, whereas Leicester's got a.
But what's with the pink?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't understand.
It seems to be I don't know. It's like a throwback or something. But Everton's kit salmon colour. That looks. I'll just say it's interesting.
That is atrocious.
It is.
That is not.
I've never been a fan of salmon pink.
No.
But
no.
Actually, okay, forget about the colour. What about this sort of like stripy background design? Is that acceptable?
No.
We'll let it go. That is horrid. That is horrid. The Manchester United away kit, that colour looks like it has been... It's like a white shirt that has not been washed ever.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Actually, legitimately?
No, it's
thank God. Because it really looks like a white shirt that's never been washed. And the photo that we've got, actually, the shirt is actually dirty because the player who
that's bad.
is wearing it has got a dark smudge mark.
No, that's no good.
Chelsea, that looks like a sailor's uniform. It looks like Donald Duck.
The worst model you could ever put at the front. I don't know who that is, but my goodness.
Oh, Kante is just looking like, what? What have you made me do? You look like Donald Duck in that. Except, it just looks like a sailor's uniform. Then there's those other kids. But, I like the... we won't go into the kids too long. We've already talked about it for too long. But there's some interesting choices in there. Moving on from the kits, though, there was a bit of confusion or a bit of anger from Pochettino. It was last week. It was, I think, the day before our last podcast. But I just saw some interesting things in that people were having it was like a conspiracy session, about what could it all mean when Pochettino said that he's not in charge of transfers, and he was annoyed at and he just sort of had this little mini outburst to the news reporter, because the poor guy keeps getting asked about, what are you going to do with signings? Are you going to sign someone new? Or are you going to sign someone not so new? Or, just, are you going to make signings? And Pochettino doesn't deal with that stuff, clearly. Well, that's what he's been trying to say for... I'm pretty sure this comes up every season about 5 or 6 times before the season starts. And the guy's sick of it. And people are reading into it as if he wants to move away from Tottenham to Manchester United or Real Madrid. And to me, he seems a bit happy there. But, to a point, can he do more with that team? But either way, people reading too much into it. I think the guy's just annoyed because you probably don't really care or have an opinion.
Well, I have
Quick
an opinion.
Sure. Okay.
I think he's just sick of it, to be honest. I think he's quite happy at Tottenham. He hasn't really, considered moving. I think he got them to the Champions League final. So I think he's doing well there. I don't think he doesn't want to leave.
I think
he doesn't want to leave.
Also, Real Madrid and Manchester United recently had clear openings.
They were throwing the bloody checkbook at him.
Yeah, well,
and he didn't leave. So,
Manchester United especially.
Man United really wanted. He's quite committed to Tottenham.
Yeah,
I think he's just annoyed that he keeps getting asked the same question.
Yeah, Klopp does that as well.
I thought he responded quite nicely, actually.
Yeah, well, guys, I don't do this stuff. Okay, you're asking the wrong guy. Ask Daniel Levi.
Hopefully, they got the message.
Somebody who didn't get the message, Lukaku. Speaking of Manchester United, I don't know if you saw this, but he had they have their pre-season fitness testing stuff, the sprint speed and stuff like that.
just to see where you are.
Yeah. And Lukaku finished second.
Too many pizzas on the holidays or something. just to check that you haven't really been...
Especially when you're on holiday in Italy, you can't not stop by and have an authentic pizza.
I would, if I was a football manager, I would bar my players from going there.
Because it's too irresistible.
You cannot go there and not eat. It's not even what you're eating; it's the quantity. You'll just love the food that much that you'll just keep going.
Well, you just go there for lunch and then leave, just
for one day.
No, not a day, just a few hours. Otherwise, it's over. All your fitness is just the preseason out the window.
True.
It's gone. No, so he has his fitness test, and he posted the results as a joke, because everyone has a go at his being unfit and saying he's looking a bit overweight and blah blah blah.
Well, it's his body shape, Mike.
Yeah, it's his body shape. I think it's the beard too.
Well, Higuain gets the same sort of treatment as well. He often gets accused of looking unfit. Then he shows up after the season starts.
He doesn't really rely on his pace, though, Higuain. Not anymore, anyway.
Well, not anymore, but he had those. He had the same sort of treatment.
Yeah.
And then he proved everyone wrong. Usually, that's what he does.
Yeah,
not last season. He had a bad season last season.
Was that at Juve?
No, because he went to Milan and then he went to Chelsea.
Oh, that's right.
So he's kind of been all over the place.
Yeah, it reminds me of.
He's back at Juventus now, but they're not going to keep him there. I wouldn't have thought.
It reminds me a bit of Falcao. I think Falcao.
But he got injured though.
Yeah, but
he was a gun before that injury.
Yeah, but it was sort of like a similar scenario. He sort of went abroad and then just failed miserably because of the circumstances, not because he was terrible. But he, same kind of prolific, striker,
100%.
and then just not working out.
So what did Lukaku do?
So he sent this picture out, on social media. I don't know if it was Twitter, I don't know if it was Facebook or whatever it was, Instagram maybe, and he got told off. It was in jest, like he wrote, he did like a smiley or whatever it was, like, look,
I came second.
It's like, yeah, he like, sarcastic, like, he can't run fast or something like that, or like what people have been saying about him essentially, that he can't sprint.
He can't run fast, but he came second in the thing.
Well, he came second in the whole team, in the whole squad.
Well, that's pretty good.
So yeah, that's not a bad effort. It was
for him.
Yeah, well, it was like 36 k's an hour or something.
You wouldn't
like
expect him to come second.
Well,
before the race, you'd take that win.
The thing is, he'd probably have a decent top speed, but just his acceleration probably wouldn't be there. That's what I'd say.
Yeah,
because he's a big unit, but like he can.
But no, you're not. Depends how long the race is, I suppose.
Yeah, because it sprints over like 50 meters. Or something like that.
So you'd have to be pretty quick off the mark, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, 50 meters is pretty far. You got enough time to accelerate to full speed.
You do, but then by the time you get there, how much longer do you have? You got to be pretty quick.
Yeah,
off the mark anyway.
Well, that was his top speed, so it's not. Yeah. It's not how like his overall speed for the 50 meters. It's just when he hit his peak. Luke Shaw was last, and then he wrote like something as well, but he got in trouble for it, and he got told to delete because he was releasing private like.
Information,
from the training sessions,
which
apparently is a big no-no.
Well, that's a fair point.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Well, who told him to do this?
The man at the wheel.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Big Ollie.
Yeah. Oh, you got to listen to Ollie. So what did he do?
He
chucked the fit.
No. He apparently scolded him and got him to delete it. Or I don't know if it's him or officials, but apparently he wasn't very happy. And now he's training in Belgium for whatever reason.
Yeah, Anderlecht. He's over there.
So United.
He doesn't want to be there.
At Anderlecht?
No, at United.
United.
He doesn't.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's going on there because everything's behind closed doors and rumours are flying left, right, and centre.
Well, no, the deal needs to be done. And
there's teams that want to take him to Italy. There's Inter Milan, rumours of Juventus, but who knows?
I think Juve are just kind of trying to make it harder for Inter. That's what I think their angle is.
It's funny.
I don't think we seriously want him.
Well, the other side of it is that there's, sometimes clubs or news places they'll pretend that there's interest from multiple clubs to spike up his price to make it seem like there's competition for the. They're like, oh, well, they're giving us this much, and then it just playing cat and mouse mind games, But it sounds Italy. They'll take it a step further, where like you say, a club will if they're not even interested, they'll be like, oh, let's just spike up the price to make Inter hurt more.
No, they'll do that. They don't care.
Which is a shame because it would really help the Italian league. And
Juventus funny.
As well.
When a team's in need of help, they'll bend over their ass to help them.
Yeah.
But then when you find that, they'll make it so difficult for you to... It's like... Yeah.
But I mean, we've discussed this before. It is healthy for the teams within a league for their European campaign if there's more competition domestically. It just helps give them that extra... So it would help Juventus if Inter was up another level, up another notch. So they could
would actually, yeah.
But, they're not going to do it. They seem to just...
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the transfer gets done.
The transfer season.
You don't want to keep a player at a club against their will.
Oh, no.
And it seems like Lukaku does. Lukaku does want to go to Italy. He said that, so...
Well, he's in Belgium now.
Well, he's in Belgium, so he's closer. A little bit.
Well, they had the day off on Monday. But apparently he just stayed there or something like that. So he's in trouble now for missing training. So
but he's still training.
True.
It's not like he's just sitting down.
Well, apparently he was injured as well. That's why he didn't play in the friendlies. So I don't understand this stuff. I think it's a bit of smoke and mirrors there. Just pretending it's like, yeah, he's injured. Sure. But then why is he training? He's injured. Don't worry. Like he's just no, not flying here. I don't believe it. But we don't know what's going on, and I'm sure we will find out very soon once the transfer window, especially for England, finishes. That's going to close on Thursday night in the UK, which will be Friday morning here. So, yeah, there's still so many things that happen on deadline day. Always crazy stuff happening. One thing I will go through before we get into a couple things still, but while we're still talking about transfers in Italy, Moise Kean, I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I heard English people saying Kean, so English people usually care the least about pronunciation. So if they're saying it's Kean, it's probably actually Kean. From Juventus, promising star, gone to Everton.
I think it's a good move for him.
For him, for Everton, definitely for Everton, definitely for him because he'll get opportunities.
Well, that's the thing. I think at Everton needed a striker, and Moise, if he's going to get games there and potentially start a lot of matches, that's good for him because he improved last season at Juventus and started coming off the bench regularly, even in Champions League games, like big games. So this is probably a good move for him because he's not going to get much game time this season at Juventus. Having said that, I'm not sure if selling him was the best idea.
Not for Juve, definitely not.
A nice loan deal for 12 months would have been perfect.
Yeah, but this is a 5-year deal.
But this is a 5-year
with
deal.
no buyback, apparently.
No buyback, no. So he's gone. They've lost a pretty good prospect, Juventus, and Everton are lucky to have him.
Does that bother you about Juve? That they seem to really be pushing for this Champions League.
Everything bothers me about Juventus these days.
Especially
everything. They're not. I don't look at them anymore as a football club that's for the fans. They're just a multinational corporation.
Ooh.
I'm serious.
Oh no, it's true, but it's still like that.
They've lost me.
How are the fans taking it in Italy?
Oh, they're fine.
They're fine.
Well, they're still rocking up to games.
Well, yeah.
That's how you know when the fans are... Because in Italy, if the fans are annoyed, they don't rock up to games.
Yeah. Was it Napoli that copped... Oh, no, it was AC.
AC?
Milan.
What did they cop?
Did the fans not coming to games? Or was it... someone did. One of the teams, the fans just didn't rock up.
It depends what you're talking about because...
It was like a few seasons
A common punishment is that they play games behind closed doors.
Yeah.
That's a common punishment in cases like... racist chanting.
Italy, where the fans have all the power.
Or, any sort of other fan problems.
Right.
The governing body of the league
can
punish teams by making them play behind closed doors. So in empty stadiums, basically. But...
we saw that a few times.
But quite often, if fans are not happy with the club and the way the club's going, they will generally just not turn up anyway. Yeah. Just to punish the owners
and
hit the bottom line, and you see it. And
it's funny how the TVs try and hide it. They just sort of look at the sections where there's
there's actually some fans that would still go.
But then you'll get one snapshot from further away, and the stadium's empty.
There's just no one there. Yeah.
Oh, it's
so that's my basis for saying the fans are fine. But they've
imagine if Newcastle fans did that.
Well, I'm waiting for an English fan base to just say, "No, we've had enough."
But would that not punish the club, not the owners? See, that's
why wouldn't it? I think it would punish both.
Yeah.
But the idea is to get the owners out.
Yeah.
Well, so I think it more punishes the owners.
They're looking
to
get legal action, but I don't think it's going to work because I don't think. And they're right, because Ashley isn't a fit and proper person, but now he's spending money on random players and getting their hopes up and making their kits back to their retro 60s or something like that, where they last won something. So he's really trying to... this is what he does all the time. He spends one season where he just panders to the fans and just sort of makes them happy, and then nothing for like 3 or 4 seasons, and then it's a cycle. Like once they get to breaking point, then he puts money in again.
The positive thing for Newcastle fans is that he won't be there forever.
Oh,
eventually someone will replace him.
I'm not sure.
No, someone will replace him eventually.
Well, hopefully the club will outlast him. He won't go into administration before he
that's true, isn't it?
Passes on ownership. But all right.
Well, one or the other.
Last thing before we get to Liverpool and Man City.
Not the latter.
Yeah, well, that'd just be horrible. That would be a sad story. But another one final story. There was a. You know what? Stuff it. We didn't even have to talk about that. That's completely off topic. Liverpool, Manchester City. There was a brawl in the Europa League.
Between
it ended 0-0. There were no red cards.
The Hungarian and the Romanians.
That's right. The Hungarian and Romanian sides. It was a 0-0 game. There were no red cards. There was a brawl that stalled the game for 30 minutes. One of the referees was hit in the head by a projectile. And then they kept going. After a half-hour delay.
That's all right. You got to have a break in between.
So yeah, it was a full-out brawl, but no red cards, and play went on. I don't think anyone wanted to play after that, but they did, and it went to penalties. The away team went through. The Hungarians, no. Well, the Romanians. Scratch that. The Romanians went through.
The Romanians went through.
Jeez. So just a day in Slavic Europe, but.
Did you say Slavic? Come on, bro.
Slavic, Romania. Yeah, okay. Romanians
are not.
Yeah, I know, but the Hungarians are they're not. They're sort of like got this mixed.
They're not.
But they have close ties to Slavic.
They love Slavic countries, but they're not Slav.
They used to be a great partnership with Poland.
But they still are.
Yeah,
actually, true. But the Romanians are more romantic. They're more aligned with the Italians.
They are. I lied. I just want to take
the French.
I just want to claim that passion, but.
You can't claim the Romanians, unfortunately.
No, I can't.
I don't know any Romanians, though. Probably should get to meet some Romanians. Anyway.
All right, moving back to the Premier League for the big two, Liverpool, Manchester City. It's the clash of the Titans kind of thing. They're
not going to be any worse this season.
Yeah, well, the Community Shield was held on Sunday, and it's meant to be a curtain raiser, apparently. 50% of the people say it's a curtain raiser where it's just
not this game.
Big friendly, and other people wanted to win. It was
not this. It was game.
Intense.
I think this has become a true rivalry now.
Yeah, no, it's becoming very.
I mean, intense. It's not on the traditional rivalry sense of your Liverpool and Man United, but this is a real rivalry now.
Well, this rivalry has actually been going for a while. A bit longer than
it's really kicked on after last season.
Well, before it used to be a rivalry for the top 4 spots,
which isn't really a thing. It's just, I mean, it is, but it's not. It's not
it was sort of like
it's not serious.
In most seasons, when Liverpool played against Manchester City, it was like I don't know. There was something about it that had them. Even before when Pellegrini, before they had that thing with Pellegrini, and they had the title race with them before, obviously with Pellegrini, but before that, last season, obviously the Titanic thing, the season before that, even though Manchester City ran away with the title during the season, Liverpool was the team that really stuck it to them, and they went out to a 4-1 lead. No one did that to them. Obviously, they ended up winning the game 4-3 only, but. Then during the Champions League, they beat them 5-1 on aggregate. Yeah. And it was no other team beat Manchester City 3 times in that season. Well, no one had 4 games against them. But the point is, they had they were the only team that could really compete with Manchester City on such a consistent level. If that makes sense.
No, this is the fixture of England these days.
Yeah.
This is the main fixture.
Which will make Manchester United fans just cry their little hearts out.
Look, it's a sad time for them.
It's a very sad time. I mean,
it's a big fall from grace.
I can't imagine if Everton and Manchester United were fighting for the title after...
Maybe they can fight for the top 6.
Yeah,
for that last Europa League spot.
I think
Everton can just join the fray.
That's a genuine possibility, especially if Cowan really kicks off for the Evertonians.
And he just scores in every game.
Oh, that would be...
he's a very good prospect, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't like Everton, but I do because I'm not a local fan. So I have that luxury of not having to hate Everton. But I'm also a fan of blue, which is also against the rules for Liverpool fans. So, that's because of North Melbourne. That's AFL, different place, different world. Yellow and black. But so Liverpool and Manchester City have... Obviously, last season they had a close battle. It was up and down. Liverpool had their ups. City had their ups. City started the best. Then Liverpool took a 10-point lead eventually. Then City fought their way back. and just got ahead,
Well,
and
City
then
didn't
they
drop
just won
any-
the rest of their games.
Well, City didn't drop any points for like the last 3 months or something.
Yeah, it was like
They
13
won every
straight or something
Yeah,
like
they won
that.
every game. They won,
And Liverpool won, I think, 11 straight, so
at
they didn't
the
do
end.
too bad themselves, but it wasn't enough. And all it took was 1 centimetre, less than that, or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was a...
Well, what I think it was unfortunately that fixture at Anfield, Liverpool couldn't beat them.
Mm.
And I think those are the 2 key fixtures this season. I mean, all the other ones are important, but those 2 matches are going to be really key.
And the first one is at Anfield. It is not too late into the season. It comes kind of...
If Liverpool can get a win over City,
yeah,
that's huge.
Well,
But they've got to keep the same form that they did last season as well and win a lot of games.
well, like last season, the way that the fixtures are split up, it's probably going to have a similar effect that there's going to be ups for easier months for Liverpool, easier months for Manchester City.
There will be. The form fluctuates. Even with good teams, you sort of have this little lull in parts of the season, then you come back.
At the very start of the season, Manchester City, I think, has the easier fixture for maybe the first month or two, and then Liverpool's fixture gets easier. But the key is...
there's no easy games.
Oh, there's no easy games,
So,
but it's more of a... You look at the games where if the teams do like they did last season, and they really sort of... Like, if they're playing at their best, they should get through unscathed, if that makes sense, or with less trouble than, say, when they're up against the top 6 teams, and who knows who the top 6 will be next season. But when they're playing tough fixtures like away to Tottenham, those kind of things, or away to Chelsea, who God knows how well they'll do. Arsenal as well. It's hard to say, but we've already talked about them. But the run-in at the very end, which is key. Manchester City plays Liverpool at home, I think maybe 8 or 9 games before the end of the season. And then after that, I think they have one of the top 6 teams at home again somewhere. And then it's just all non-top 6 teams all the way to the end. Whereas Liverpool play, I think, 2 or 3 away fixtures against top 6 teams after playing against Manchester City away from home. So it's sort of like if you get to that stage near the end of the season, Liverpool, you would, if things go more or less, to plan, which they never do, Liverpool should be ahead by that point, and then it's about surviving that period with as little damage as possible. So, in theory, of course, because teams, even though Man City didn't slip up last season, they did have that bad patch. They lost 2 games in a row. One of them was to Newcastle. No one was expecting that.
Look, I think both of them will have a bad patch at some point. Yeah, it's very hard in that league, and plus if you're doing Champions League as well and Cups, to actually not have a bad patch. It's very hard.
And talking about Cups, depending on their Cup runs,
it
might affect the league form as well. So
if I were Liverpool, just get out of the League Cup. Get out of the FA Cup.
That's what they did last season. They need to get...
I'd even get out of the Champions League. Just bomb the Champions League and just focus on the league.
No, they've got...
Play your reserves in the Champions League.
They've got a big enough squad to compete, arguably.
They do. I'm not arguing with that.
I mean,
I'm saying, I think you guys want the league title now.
Oh, definitely.
So let's just bomb everything and go for that.
No, it won't help them, but...
It won't help them, no.
But what they probably will do is...
It'll be worth it if
they'll prioritise the league.
Over the Champions League?
Oh, just over all the other stuff. The Champions League is sort of it's less of it because it's played less often. And same with the Cups. It's less often.
It's a much bigger trophy, though. It's the most prized trophy.
It is.
But the thing is, for Liverpool, they've won 2 now? Since their last league title? They've won
2.
They've won 2 Champions Leagues. So it's like...
Which is so weird.
So it's like, well... What do you want more? Liverpool's in that weird sort of place where the Champions League's obviously...
It's not enough.
the prized trophy, but we want the Premier League because we haven't won it in so long.
Right, don't hate me for this, but I'm
going
to make a comparison to the cricket. It's like Australia, they've won so many World Cups, even though the World Cup is the World Cup, they're focused on the Ashes now, and they won the first game against England because they changed their strategy to suit a different type of game. So it'll be a similar thing here, which is weird because like the most coveted prize becomes less of a priority than.
Well, I think City want the Champions League more now, so maybe they.
I think that they've wanted the Champions League more than anything anyway.
Yeah, well, I think now's the time to do a little switcheroo. I think that's a fair trade.
True. Yeah, well, a lot of people said that they would happily have switched their trophies last season, but arguably you'd say it's like, okay, we want the Premier League, but
oh no, I wouldn't trade in the Champions League at all.
Yeah,
after winning it, like you can say it now, but if you've won the
but also the trophy drought they had, it's like, well, we might as well break it with the Champions League, you know. Like we haven't won since 2012, which was the League Cup. So before that, it was 2006. The FA Cup. That was the last time they won a trophy. Before that was Istanbul, 2005. So it's 14 years between European Cups. That's actually a pretty long gap between European Cups anyway, for a club that's won so many. But
yeah, it is. That's 6 now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 6 now. As Klopp was counting during the parade. But just going on to before about the squad depth, right? So, obviously for Liverpool last season they competed on both fronts, both the league and the Champions League. They won the Champions League, almost missed out in the final spot, but they got there with a miracle at Anfield, as there have been so many miracles at Anfield. And in the league, obviously, up until the last day, they only lost by a point to City after winning, I think, their last 10 or 11 games. So you can't really do much more than that, other than have won the other games. But in the cups, they failed miserably. They got knocked out first round in both of them. One of them was to Chelsea. So Chelsea, strong team, and they were both sort of semi-second string teams. And Hazard played for Chelsea. He scored a good goal, and what can you do? The other game was Wolves. That was the League Cup.
Wolves are a good team,
and they had a full strength squad. The Wolves' full strength squad was better than Liverpool's second string last season.
No, they're a good team, Wolves,
and they're still good. And they're going to be in the Europa League, and they deserve to be there. They belong there.
Well, they're qualifying at the moment, but they'll qualify.
Yeah, they should qualify. But Liverpool have not really added to their squad. However, their squad has technically gotten bigger. They signed 2 youngsters. So I'll just explain this because he's confused about what the hell they've done, because they don't seem to have done anything. They've signed a 17-year-old Dutch centre-back. Yep. Because, one Van Dijk, in 10 years he'll be the second Van Dijk. So, that's good investment.
Very, very optimistic. Keep going.
So the second signing was a wonder kid from Fulham.
Oh, from Fulham.
Harvey Elliott. Yeah. So he's this hot prospect. He did look pretty good, I have to say. He's 16 now.
Oh, yeah.
Last season he was 15 something.
He'll deliver you a trophy.
No, that's not the idea.
It is.
So my I believe that these are players. Klopp's happy with his squad, right?
Of course you'd be.
They also brought in Adrian to replace Mignolet.
Well, that's a replacement.
Yeah, so that's different. So the real signings that have increased the squad for Liverpool this season are the injuries that are coming back. So Oxlade-Chamberlain's coming back. He basically missed the whole season. Naby Keita basically missed the whole season.
Yes.
Shaqiri didn't play almost the whole season, and who knows if he's going to be injured or not. But,
was he injured at the end?
In patches, so
he was never fully fit in that later part of the season. He's a good player. When he's firing, he's exactly good.
And he had a bit of a run.
He did,
but then he got injured, and then by the time he got back, everyone was sort of in good form, and there wasn't really a spot for him. And he doesn't offer as much defensive cover as the other options.
No, he's not that sort of player.
Yeah, because he plays in midfield. He doesn't.
He's more of an attacking midfield defender.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the problem.
And Liverpool, the way that they play is that they pretty much attack with their front three and their wing backs, who have smashed the records for assists for a defender. They got, I think, 11 and 13 assists, which is just I think they were like 4th and 5th in the all-time.
So the system they played on doesn't suit him.
Yeah, well
100%. Like he can play in it. He's capable, but
well, the midfielders don't do as much attacking. That's the thing, right? Because they almost cover for the fullbacks. They do push up sometimes, but they're not really. They're needed for their to fill up that space in the middle and cover the fullbacks. Shaqiri does sometimes play on the wing as well. If Salah or Mane are back, and he played as a false 9 as well. So like he
can do that
up
role,
the top.
Yeah.
So he gets used a bit, but he's not the ideal fit for any of those. So he's never going to be first choice for any of those things. And I think he's okay with that. He seems to have been second string for at Bayern Munich. He sort of dealt with that. He was okay. He was the big man at Stoke, and then he thought, all right, let's be the big club again. And but yeah, so Shaqiri's come back too. They did lose Moreno, the left back. And they lost Sturridge. Sturridge, after many years of service on the bench, he's finally gone. And I still reckon he does soccer on Sunday, but maybe not. Who knows? It's hard to say. But so those players, Origi signed a new contract. There's a few youngsters coming through. One that could potentially fill in at left back, and I think it's hard to say. They've got a couple actually. One that's more attacking. The one that got kicked, that was one of them. Larucci.
Don't you have James Milner?
And you've got James Milner who can... Yeah. Somebody put up a great post.
It's Milner's wing.
No, what? This is something you haven't seen. I wish I'd showed you. So, it's a post. I can't remember if it was on Twitter or whatever it was, or Facebook.
He's just a handyman.
Well...
He's a handy man.
Somebody posts on, oh my goodness, like Liverpool have such a deep... squad, such squad depth this season, right? That was the caption. Yeah. And it's got a picture and it's got a diagram of Liverpool's team. They've got the front three. And then how they've got it like in like faded type. They've got like the players that could back up each player. And it's just got behind every player Milner. Milner. He can play in just about every position, and he just about has. And Wijnaldum's actually quite similar because he's actually played in every single position at some stage in his career, other than goalkeeper.
He's underrated, that guy. He's a good player.
He is a good player, and it's funny until you see a highlight, not a highlights reel. It's highlights reel helps.
I'd love to have 11 James Milners on my team.
Yeah. James Milner's. James Milner's and a couple of Wijnaldums in there too. And then Mane, Salah, Firmino up top. Just the rest of them can do it.
I just have Milner everywhere.
He's just a workhorse. He just outrun this. Robertson, he's a workhorse too.
Robertson, he's a workhorse.
Yeah, so Mourinho said he just runs. He just... I won.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Oh, robber. But... So Liverpool have sort of kind of got this increased squad depth without having increased their squad, and Klopp seems to be of the idea that, okay, look, these are the guys that I've got. I'm happy with what I've got, and going by the way he went about the Alisson and Van Dijk signings, he's the kind of person who would say, okay, look, if I'm not going to get the guy I want, I'm not going to get anyone. And that's what happened with their defenders, because everyone's calling for a defender to be called, because they didn't get Van Dijk until halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And then, when he did come in, everyone's saying, okay, that was a good move, good wait, well waited. Yeah. And then Alisson, same thing. Everyone was calling out for Karius to get
a goalkeeper, yeah.
And then Alisson came in. Yeah. Well, I think he was close to not getting Alisson, but then Karius just had a blunder in a pre-season, and he thought, okay, that's enough, let's get him, and they forked out the money, and the rest is history. Manchester City, on the other hand, have made one big signing, Rodri.
They did get Rodri from Atletico.
From Atletico, he's Spanish. Atletico, huge reforms going on there, but they seem to be handling it okay. They always do. Amazing club, I have to say. As much as I don't like the Spanish league. Rodri, I think he's a Xavi type.
Well, they're saying he's the next Xavi.
But everyone's the next Xavi, so everyone who plays in deep in midfield.
They paid 70 million for this guy.
Yeah, well,
So
they broke the
he's got to be good.
Yeah,
if they want to pay that amount of money to get this guy. If Pep wants him, shit.
Yeah, well, for all the transfers that Man City have made and all the money they've spent,
he must see some.
Yeah, well,
he manages Avi for his.
Well, that's
career.
the most they've spent for anyone for him. So it could be the final. Well, everyone laughed at Pep Guardiola.
This team has. I would argue this signing's probably strengthened them.
Oh yeah,
and they are the team to beat. Unfortunately.
Oh yeah,
they are the team to beat.
For sure.
Liverpool are good. They're very good. But City's the team to beat. Unfortunately.
I'll say this much though. First of all, oh yeah, they're definitely the team to beat.
Yeah.
With the way that Pep goes about it, he's similar to Klopp. You know, he'll buy a player. Obviously, with City, they've got basically infinite resources. So
they do.
He'll buy whoever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
But he won't buy a player unless he sees a role for them. You know, he wants that specific role, and he's not going to buy a player just because I just want a bit more. An extra player in that area, like he'll buy a player because he wants that type of player in that particular position.
Yeah,
because everyone laughed at him last season when he spent 200 million on defenders or whatever it was. No, 2 seasons ago. Sorry, before the 100-point season that season, he spent a bazillion on defenders. He bought Kyle Walker, he bought Mendy, he bought Danilo, who's gone to Juventus. So. And some other right back as well. So he bought 2 fullbacks for each wing. So 4 fullbacks. I think Laporte or something like that, a centre back or something like that. He bought a whole new back line for like 200 million or something like that. Ridiculous money.
It's a good investment.
And then they got 100 points that season. So I think he did the right thing. But
what do you want? More goals? You want less goals conceded?
Well, what they did was, it wasn't that they had good intercepting or tackling ability. It was they could play out from the back, and that was their problem.
Yeah, well, that's his style of play, isn't it? That those players suited the way he wanted to play, and he got those. He got the right men in,
and he got the keeper as well. So
that's the other thing. He uses the keeper as like, he's the 11th. He's more than a keeper.
Yeah,
he actually sets up attacks through his clearances and long passing.
Yeah,
so. He got the players in that could do the job that he wanted them to do.
And now he's gotten Rodri in, who's basically if
he's the next Xavi, and the way he played under Guardiola at Barca.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This City looked pretty scary to me.
Well, Rodri will be now a deep lying, sort of because they had Fernandinho, who they were hugely relying on, obviously. He's a different kind of player.
He is.
He's more of a battering ram, Fernandinho, who can also pass.
He's a ball-winning, hard...
But can also pass.
Yeah, of course he can pass.
And take a shot from a long distance and hope that it goes near the goal. Doesn't always. Usually doesn't. But I feel like Mascherano, probably better than Mascherano because he was never a good shot. But Rodri is like an extra player to get the ball from the back and distribute and really get into the game. And in the Community Shield, he started off. He struggled a little bit at the beginning because he was getting used to the intensity that Liverpool do with their pressing and things like that.
Oh yeah.
But he got into the game as the game went on, and that's the toughest game he's going to face. And that kind of player is key for especially those stubborn teams that have a wall at the back. And
he can unlock a defence.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
Which City didn't have trouble with last season.
They didn't in many games, but there will be games where they may. There's that one game where one team or one or two teams can give him a bit of trouble, unlocking a defence. He could be that guy.
Well, it was actually the weaker teams that did give him trouble last season. I mean, Newcastle beat them.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other teams that beat them. Liverpool was not one of them. So they seem to have gotten... They got better at that, that's for sure, when they faced up against... Because the season before, they got... in... Even the game that they won 5-0 against Liverpool, Liverpool got a red card in the 20th minute or something like that, and that completely killed the game. Before that, Liverpool was actually battering them at their own home ground, and they looked really threatening up until that moment, and then it just all fell apart, obviously. But the rest of the games that season, they won every game. So Whereas last season, which is what won them the title, essentially, they won the game at home against Liverpool by a centimetre, and they could have actually won at Anfield, but they didn't lose at Anfield. That was key, and that came through a change of style, because they actually parked the bus at Anfield, which was a bit strange to watch, because
Liverpool are very good. They can do that to them. Well, that's the thing. Liverpool are their strongest challengers. They're a very good team, but they can make City change the way they play. That's how good they are.
They're the only team that City did that against for the whole season.
Yeah, that's how good Liverpool are. That's how far away these two are from the rest of the pack,
and how much respect Guardiola has for Liverpool, and
vice versa.
And there's it's a reverse relationship as well, and it's just such a gulf in.
But the thing is, I think even how many games did Sane play for them last season?
I'm not sure, and I still don't know what he's doing.
If he leaves and goes to Bayern Munich, right, he's a very good player. I don't feel like there's a real loss for them. Like, it's a loss, but I don't think it'll affect them at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's arguable, because I think he was really quite important as the... Well, they've also lost Company as well.
Well, he wasn't important. He's older, but he still played an important role.
Yeah, well, he scored
especially at the end of the season.
goal
he did.
Near the end, and he gave him an extra... solidity in defence.
But he was a leader on the pitch as well for them, so that is a loss, even though he's older.
And Sane, there's still stuff going on about whether or not he's going to go to Bayern, and even though the Premier League window closes on Thursday, there's basically a month left for the rest of the leagues to do their business, so that could go on for a while. Sane potentially going to Bayern, although maybe they'll have a deadline saying, look, if you don't take him before the window closes, you can't take him at all. Apparently they're slapping a big price tag on him. We don't know. We don't particularly care. We'll find out once the dust has settled. But if he does go, then I think it will actually hurt them, just because he gave them a bit of that X factor. He gave him something that other players in the team don't have.
Was he starting a lot of games?
Yeah.
Okay, he was.
He was starting a lot of games, but then he'd move to the bench because of inconsistency. But when he was doing his thing, he'd be the guy that unlocked because of his pace, mainly pace and dribbling ability, and he just caused headaches for the other team. He won them the game against Liverpool, really, actually, and that's the kind of thing, like players like that can unlock a defense. Like Sterling's not going to do that, because Sterling, he, as good a player as he is, I don't know, there's something about him that makes him sort of, I don't know, fluffy his lines. He does something that's a bit too predictable, and he plays it safe. You know what I mean? He doesn't sort of do that. He doesn't really attack players. That's the thing. And then,
well,
even in the Community Shield, I don't know what he was doing. He had a one-on-one, and he just so often. I hardly ever see Sterling score one-on-ones. Just rarely happens.
He
That's a good comment.
Yeah, it is. I like that comment. That was good.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a brain fart a couple of times.
Yeah. That's what happens after a food coma from eating pizza. But
no, none of that.
Really. Look, but looking at the Liverpool Man City rivalry that has developed and looks likely to go on into this season, I think it was really solidified in the Community Shield, where Man City dominated the first half, but then Liverpool dominated the second half twice as hard.
I think they worked out how to beat each other.
Yeah, but
almost.
Well, I think part of it was also because they both they slightly had their foot off the pedal in various moments during the game, and it was a bit how would you say it? Disjointed. They were just
patches. That's what happens.
It's a preseason. That's the thing.
But when there's two good teams, like you can't dominate the whole game. It's not going to happen.
They haven't really had much of a preseason anyway, so there's room for that. They're not 100%. And like you say,
I just think both these teams, whenever they play each other, they'll both have their moments. It won't be a solid one-sided game at all.
And that's the true sign of two good sides, where you have opportunities carved up from both of them, and not through some ridiculously stupid mistakes, which you see in some fixtures. But it's sort of because when you have those big rivalries like especially when you see it in the Champions League, when there's really tight games, and they usually end up like a 1-1 draw in both games. I remember during the Rafa Mourinho years, so when Rafa Benitez was at Liverpool, Mourinho was at Chelsea, there were so many tight games there. 0-0s, 1-0, 1-1, just constantly. It was a chess game.
Yeah, well, two tactical men going at it. Well, that's what's going to happen.
That's the thing, right? But there's two sides to the game. There's the defensive aspect, and then there's the attacking aspect. And when you've got teams that they're good at the defense, right, but their attack is so good, and both the teams' attacks are so good that they can't afford to play this cagey game, because the other team, even though it will be harder for them to score, they will score eventually. It's just a matter of time. And if you sit back too much,
you can't.
It invites pressure.
No, you can't invite pressure. Part of defending is actually, playing. You can't
pushing it back.
As good as the defense is, you can't just invite pressure.
You can't just have all the players sitting around the box and just hope that the ball doesn't end up.
Unless you're a really good counter-attacking team, you can get the lead. If you get the lead, then that's huge. But
it's a bit different also the way that Liverpool and Man City play. 2 seasons ago, there was a clear, Klopp had his press and Guardiola had his possession, So there was Guardiola just pass until you get into a ridiculous position and score the simplest of goals. Some of the goals were good hits, but mostly it was just, they get into the box with some crazy good passing and then score a goal. And Liverpool would just charge at teams and just mercilessly press them until they coughed up the ball, and they just swarm basically and open up the game and score that way. And that was sort of it, that was Liverpool at their best. That's what they did. City at their best. That's what they did. And City would struggle then with Liverpool's pressing game, because they, if you're trying to keep possession of the ball, then you sort of pass it around your own half, and if you lose the ball in those areas, then you're in trouble, because the other team doesn't really have far to get to your goals. Last season, however, both teams adapted, and Manchester City learned how to play differently. They played a bit of hoofball, really, in both fixtures, both when they were home and away. And Pep Guardiola said that in the Anfield game, so the one at Liverpool, that he changed his tactics. He's like, all right, I changed the tactics. Yeah, sure thing. We sat back because we can't give Liverpool space. You just can't give Liverpool space. It's like he woke up with cold sweats at night. Like, you can't give Liverpool space. You can't give Liverpool space. But then
that's probably an accurate assessment.
But then at Manchester City, I think they went up to a 2-0 lead, and Liverpool got one back, and they were pushing hard by the end of the game, and Manchester City sat back again. They knew what they had to do, right?
Yeah.
But Guardiola didn't admit to it, and he probably thought that he didn't change his playing style, but he clearly did. And it wasn't the same. We don't care who you are. We're Manchester City. We're at home. This is our home. You don't tell us what to do here. And Liverpool started playing a more possession game and a more positionally defensive game as well, which is counter to their pressing style. You know, they added to their game, so they adapted as well.
They're really trying to beat each other.
Yeah,
that's what this is.
And obviously, Liverpool
because they didn't do it against any other opponents.
No, well, Liverpool.
That's the thing.
Well, Liverpool last season they did defend against everyone. They played a different style.
No, they got a different style. That's part of
Yeah.
their style, but they didn't change their style. For
just for
anyone
the
else.
game.
They just it's only City and Liverpool where they start changing the way they normally play.
Well, definitely City. City definitely don't change their game. Well, Liverpool seem to be. They won games through adapting. I felt like last season, just because. Well, but I think that's just because they develop a defensive backbone, and it just makes a huge difference.
You're not used to that.
Yeah, I'm definitely not used to that.
I think you forgot what it's like.
Yeah, well, with Rafa, we had it for a while, but now Van Dijk, Matip playing a lot of games, Fabinho in there as well.
Well, that's why you're hard to beat. That's simply why they're now hard to beat.
Yeah.
They don't have to dominate games to win. They can win ugly,
and they can wait for the opportunity, and they're scoring at set pieces. That's another thing. They're actually trying with set pieces instead of just doing the same thing over and over again, and just because being a threat at set pieces, it's another way to score.
Oh, well, it's huge. It can be huge,
and it can
especially against the stubborn defence. You get a set piece,
you get a goal, it's done.
Then they have to change. They can't sit back and park the bus anymore. They got to come at you, and then you can just pick them off.
And especially against the physical teams. I mean, that's what they're counting on. The physical teams, they're playing to be physical. But if you can match their physicality, you score a goal on, then you're the one that's doing a hit and run,
That's it, yeah.
So, look, it's going to be an interesting season, but kicks off this weekend with Liverpool first.
I think City should be the favourites here.
Oh, City are the favourites. For sure. City, everyone's saying it. Everyone knows it. Liverpool know it. Manchester City know it. But at the same time, you can only do what's ahead of you, and they don't.
That's the thing.
They don't care.
You look at it now, but then there's injuries to come in. You just don't know.
Yes,
you just don't know. But looking at it, City should probably back it up again. However, it's going to be close. It's going to be very close. Even if City play well every game and win nearly every game, it's going to be close. Liverpool will be pushing them.
Well, one thing I will say...
I'm saying they're better, but they're not that much better. They're arguably like...
Or Manchester City.
Yeah.
Well...
They're not much better at all.
More importantly here...
And like you said, they won by centimetres last season, essentially.
Yeah, it's the centimetres.
It's that close. It's that close.
Well, if Liverpool had drawn at City or won at home,
they would have won the league.
They would have won the league. So
that's how it is.
It was that smaller margin, but
and Liverpool are getting key players back from injury, so they're going to strengthen in that sense. And City got Rodri, but they're already very strong. How much stronger can they get?
It's very similar squads to last season, essentially, that are playing. And the first 11's more or less the same. So it's just go again, That's pretty much the message, I think.
Yeah, go again, keep winning.
And the thing I like about both of these teams, and City proved this when they won the league with, 6 games to spare or whatever it was the season before last. When they got to their 100 points and they kept winning. A lot of teams drop off there. They just kept winning. And Pep Guardiola just instilled that in him. He's like, who cares about, we've won the league. I don't care. Like, we got to compete at our highest level. And Liverpool are the same in a different way. Klopp says, look, who cares about what City's doing? I don't care how many points they have. We've got our objective. We win our games. That's it. We don't care about what happens anywhere else. It's even if they're ahead, doesn't matter. Keep winning. If they're behind, doesn't matter. Just keep winning. And they both don't care what each other are like. They care, right?
They do, but it
doesn't affect how they play.
But during their own games, they just focus on themselves.
And the amount of times that there was near the end of the season, I think the last 5-6 games,
it's almost like you got to turn it off and just enjoy your football.
Yeah,
and not worry about the results or winning it. But you do. That's what you play for. But somehow you got to just turn that off and just focus on yourselves and doing what you do best.
And that's what they did for the last 6 games. Both teams did it. They basically, I think most of the games, Liverpool would play first. They win their game because they won their last 11 or whatever it was. The Man City won their last 13, I think. Yeah. And Liverpool would play their game, so the pressure would be on City to win, right? But City didn't look at it like that. They just said, it's like, oh, we're going to play our game, we're going to win. And then when City played their game first, Liverpool had to win. But, Klopp, after Liverpool would win their, the first game, then Klopp in the post-match interview is like, oh, so you're going to watch the City game? Like, if I've got nothing better to do, but otherwise, nah, I don't care. he's just, and I do not believe him. I don't not believe him. I think he genuinely felt that way.
You believe that he didn't care?
Like that he wouldn't watch it. He just and the players did the same thing. Like Milner would just be like, oh, yeah, they're playing.
No,
but
it's really good though because he set that mood in the dressing room. Like it's like, you know what? We're not going to put any more pressure on ourselves. We're not going to worry about what they do
because it doesn't matter.
The worst thing that'll happen is that your performances, like Liverpool's performances, will start dropping. Yeah. Because they're worried about what the other team's doing. They're not focusing on themselves.
Yeah, just focus
on
he's
actually set the right mood.
Yeah, just focus on what you've got control over.
And Pep's done that as well.
Yeah. And and that's how they get their remarkable consistency, and they got as far as they did to the end of the season. So,
it's hard to do. Otherwise, they would all do it. Yeah. So it's really hard to do.
And that
it helps that you got good players as well. I mean,
but
but there's other factors. You can have good players and not win.
Yeah.
So
exactly, and that's one of the key things that I have to give credit to this City side is that everyone's saying, oh, Guardiola's got all this money, he can do whatever he wants. Pellegrini had that. He didn't do this. He didn't dominate like this. And even the season that he beat Liverpool, so the previous race that Liverpool had for the Premier League title, it was he scraped through. He should have bolted to the title. Liverpool had a terrible,
judging from the team they had and the amount of money they spent, and he should have.
Well, Liverpool had a terrible lapse in the middle of the season, and Manchester City had no right to drop as many points as they did, but they did because they didn't have that focus. They didn't have that intensity. And the previous season as well, Pellegrini failed to win. He had no right to do that. And it just is so often the managers... Was
that the season Leicester won?
Well, no, the season Leicester won was...
Was that after or before? Was that after?
No, I think that... Actually, yeah, you're right. I think that was Pellegrini. That's another example. I mean, they have no right. Leicester had no right to win.
Leicester had no right to win the league, but they did.
And everybody just failed miserably in that season. That was Rodgers still at Liverpool then.
How did they win the league?
Because every other team failed.
No, but it's not that. They still... What did they finish with? Over 80 points?
All right, it was like 84 or something like that.
You can't...
I do know more or less how they did it.
You fluke that. I know you probably can, but...
All right. I will explain it.
Look, I know. Look, City were bad. Arsenal weren't good. Tottenham weren't.
Tottenham were still becoming, but they weren't ready.
You can say the top 6 had the worst season ever.
Yes,
but then to knock that off and take that away from Leicester and say, oh, you only won because the top 6. That's ridiculous.
No.
No, I'm not saying you're saying that, but
the other thing that Leicester had in their that was good for them was that nobody believed they were going to keep going. They had
no pressure. They came from a place of no pressure.
It's not just no pressure. It's the fact that teams still wanted to beat them. Normally what happens when a team's chasing, the title, teams shut up shop. They start parking the bus. They start holding them off. No one did that to Leicester. No one believed that Leicester would keep winning games. No, people thought, all right, it's just another team. Let's get them, And all these teams, one after the other, they kept falling to these 1-0 victories. Leicester had the defense set up well, and they had Vardy on the counter attack. That's pretty much Vardy and Mahrez on the counter. That was their setup.
Well, that worked for them.
Kante helping out with the defense, and that was pretty much it. And it was enough because teams kept coming at them. Whereas obviously teams like Liverpool...
That day they went to White Hart Lane and they won 1-0. I'm like, they've got it.
That was the moment.
They're going to win now.
Tottenham was supposed to win that league and they didn't. And that was the moment.
They were like, we're looking at them going, right, when are they going to drop a game? They're going to drop at some point. You go to White Hart Lane, win 1-0, keep a clean sheet. No, you've got it. You've got it. Like,
we're not going to see that for a very long time.
It was special. It was
very special. But I think that just about wraps it up for today.
It does.
A bit longer today, but
reminiscing about Leicester's season.
It was a huge week ahead. That was a great season. That was just a great year for sport. All these underdog stories.
I know. We can get into that, but it'll take a while.
But okay, I would love to see Leicester break the top 6 this season. Leicester, Everton, Wolves. It'll be a race between the 3 based on squads, but then West Ham will come out of the blocks and just prove everyone wrong, and
maybe
Manchester United will finish top 3. Like, it would just be something stupid to happen.
We don't know.
We don't know. So I am looking forward to this season just because of the many different...
Well, there's just so much competition in this league. That's why it's such a great league.
In different areas too, not just the top.
Well, not just the top, but like the teams like in the mid-table can beat the top teams.
Yeah.
Not City and Liverpool, forget it. But the rest, yeah.
And even if they're not going to beat them in the table on the day, they, just huge thorns in the side.
That's it, yeah.
Leicester, West Ham.
There are no easy games at all.
Although
you get
some Huddersfield last season.
You get some on occasion, but mostly though.
Huddersfield and Fulham last season. Yeah.
They're not easy games.
But this season, all the new teams. We've got to mention them.
Norwich and Sheffield United.
Norwich, Sheffield, and Aston Villa. It's hard to say what any of them are going to do, but I don't think any of them will be easy beats this season. So they could all survive. They could all get relegated. We just don't know. We don't know
anything.
Hopefully Leeds comes up next season though. All right, that's enough for this week. So we'll be back after week 1 of the Premier League.
We'll finally have some results to talk about in press conferences.
We'll have some results and press conferences, and not sure what the topic of the day will be, but we'll come up with something, and I'm sure it'll be grand. So thank you for listening. If you got this far, don't forget to subscribe to if you're listening to this on the YouTube channel, subscribe to that.
Subscribe, please.
Or the podcast, subscribe to that,
please.
But comment as well, because we'd love to hear on any.
Please comment
things you have to say, and that about sums it up. So until next week, we'll talk to you then.